Hi, I'm Julia Kenny, and I'm representing Rohail Hada, Margaret Pinner, and Holly Gooding in the group Gender Transformative Design. So let's talk about gender transformative design and how it applies to civil engineering. First, we'll cover more of an umbrella term with inclusive design. Inclusive design is design that considers the full range of human diversity with respect to ability, language, culture, age, gender, and other forms of human diversity. Whereas gender transformative design is more focused on design which is welcoming to all forms of gender. This includes the entire spectrum, everything from male to female, intersex, and transgender. So why is it important to talk about gender transformative design within civil engineering? Well, civil engineering is the engineering of buildings and structures and bridges and essentially the entire environment in which society inhabits. So it's important when talking about civil engineering to talk about the population which will be inhabiting it. When designing a structure, it's important to keep in mind everyone who'll be using it. So gender transformative design is being sensitive and mindful to the population you're serving and how to best fit their needs. So we're going to think about this kind of through the lens of feminism for a little bit. And since feminism is generally thought of as more of a critical approach, which is more of an afterthought, some way to think about a design and critique it, how to be better, we're actually going to think of feminists in more a proactive way and encourage it to be thought of at the beginning of the design process rather than at the end. So it might sound a little strange to think about civil engineering and feminism, but it can be done and it should be done, and I'll tell you why. So first off, we're going to just explain and get straight out that feminism is not just females fighting for females. Feminism is anyone fighting for everyone, whether that be socially or anything else. So some of the central commitments of feminism is including a sensitivity to agency, fulfillment, identity of the self, and equity, empowerment, diversity, and social justice. So these are important to keep in mind for civil engineering because it's essentially taking into consideration your entire population, no matter how diverse it is, and making the best design possible to fit their needs. So take, for instance, you as a civil engineer have a job to build a bridge. And you look at the topography and you realize all the structural needs for this bridge, and you decide, hey, I'm going to make a 2-lane vehicle bridge. It's going to be for cars and trucks and buses and all that stuff. Because you're like, majority of the people, they like to drive cars. Well, including more of a feminist approach, you look at the entire population rather than just the majority. You realize that, okay, well, maybe the majority of the people really like the white males really like to drive cars, and they do that often. But then you look at some of the other minorities and you realize, well, maybe the females like to ride more bikes, and maybe another group of people actually just likes to walk. So if you just make a vehicle bridge, then you're completely neglecting all of the bike riders and the pedestrians. So what you really need to do is to take into consideration building a bridge that includes a vehicle lane and also including a bike lane and a pedestrian walkway. That way your bridge includes all the needs of the entire population rather than just the vehicle drivers. Incorporating gender transformative design will make you a better civil engineer, will make your designs more successful, and will make the world really more welcoming to everyone. Now, another thing to consider as a civil engineer is your own personal culture. So say, for instance, that you are a white male. As a white male, you have a certain set of terms and signals and recognitions that you understand and that most other white males will understand. However, not everyone else might understand your own culture. It's really important to get as many perspectives and cultures as possible in the design process, which means that maybe you as a white male have an idea, but then it's important to get more perspective from a black female or an Asian male, or just as many combinations as possible, because everyone has their own different personal culture that they recognize. So it's important because what works for you might not work for everyone else. And to be successful as a civil engineer, you need to make your structures be as recognizable to your culture as they are to everyone else's. So according to Bill Nye, Half the humans on this planet are girls and women, so we want half the engineers and scientists to be girls and women. However, currently, only 12.1% of civil engineers are women. So we're not really up to par with gaining the most perspectives as possible. We have a long way to go. So how do we get more girls and women? Well, we need more females to become civil engineers. That much we know. One way to get more women is for those women who are already in school becoming civil engineers to become role models. Look for opportunities to talk to younger girls and be the inspiration for them to join STEM. Break the stereotypes that only boys enter STEM careers and correct the misconceptions regarding physical strength. In today's day and age, there's no longer a requirement to do heavy lifting. There's often equipment and machines to do that for you. Instead, the real world of civil engineering focuses more on optimizing processes and designing rather than doing manual labor. So if you can get this notion across to younger girls in high school and middle school and talk to them and make them realize that you don't have to be incredibly strong and engineering is not just for guys, it's for girls too. Be their role model and be their inspiration for them to maybe think of this as a career. So research has found that if a woman becomes an engineer, the most popular reason for her to leave engineering is actually because of her workplace environment. It's often found that they're treated in a belittling and condescending manner. They're often undermined by their supervisors and even their coworkers. So, to all you males out there, it's critical and crucial that you treat your coworkers with respect, especially the women. Now, I'm not saying, oh, be a gentleman. No, you need to respect them as your equal. Yes, you can hold the door open for women, but you should also hold it open for men. If you see a woman carrying a box and she's not struggling, don't ask to take it for her. Don't insist on carrying anything. If they ask for help, do it. But that goes for guys too. If a guy is carrying something and asks for help, take it. It's great. But don't insist on taking something that's belittling to their physical strength. So no matter what, just be very conscious and do not try to undermine their physical or mental abilities. To all the women engineers, be a support system. Encourage others to work their best and succeed as best as possible. Don't try to disrespect anyone based on gender or anything else. Just don't do it. Instead, respect everyone. So essentially, we need more women engineers to create more perspectives. But we also need them to stay. I hope you've learned a little bit more about gender transformative design, and thank you for listening.